Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Hello, everybody. Let me put my charger because we might run out of battery today. How are you guys doing? My name is RODGON. I am a professional cartoonist, and today I would like to teach you guys a couple of the basic rules of cartooning that I have developed over the years. Now, these lessons have come from 20 something years of drawing cartoons and illustrations and everything of the sorts. And I spend every single day helping you guys understand how to unlock these elements in yourselves. From drawing things to show you cases and explaining every single detail, I like to make sure that the people around me feel inspired to be able to draw things that they like. So today, I felt very I feel like a challenge today. I want to try to explain within like, I don't know, let's say 20 minutes to like 30 minutes, the very basic essence of cartooning and how you can become very proud of what you're doing, or at least prouder and happier by the end of today. So I'm testing out different ways to explain this stuff so that I can have a fantastic demonstration when I get to go to Lightbox Expo at the end of this year. I get to go to Lightbox Expo and I'm going to be exhibiting there. So I want to try to practice the demonstration that I'm going to be doing, which is going to be called the Power of Foundations. So I get to do a 1 hour long demo for people. So it's going to be really fun. And I am looking really much so looking forward to it. So if you guys will have me today, I would love to be able to try to give that a shot and try to see if I can get you guys to a next level of understanding when it comes down to the essence of cartooning. So if you would not mind, go grab your sketchbooks, go grab something that you're going to be able to draw with, or any sort of thing that you like to draw or stain with, and please give me the chance to improve your art career either exponentially or even just a little. Sounds good? So we're going to be talking today about the power of foundations. Why and what is our foundations? People keep on mentioning those all the time, right? And people just always say like it's anatomy and perspective, but it's so much more than that. So I need to help you guys understand what the power of your foundations can help you do if you learn them. Jesus Christ, I keep on getting calls at the most inappropriate moments. Let me turn off my volume. All right, there you go. So, power of foundations. What are your foundations? Well, a lot of people think that your foundations are learning things like perspective and learning things like horizon lines and then learning how to like draw like, I don't know, like things that are complicated in space, right? All that stuff, yeah, these are part of your foundations, but they're only a section of your foundations. So a lot of the times people thinking that anatomy and perspective and just understanding those things is going to help you create everything is a misnomer. Like it's miscommunication, right? Understanding all these little theories and concepts that, for example, I teach will help you understand the theological side of things. You're going to be able to understand how to maybe move an object in space and stuff like that. But sometimes it needs more to be able to build into that. Okay, so this is one part of your foundations, and this is the knowledge part. Okay, this is where all your lessons, all your, like classes that you ever took, all that knowledge about software and shadows and bounce lights and reflectiveness and surfaces and all that stuff, that comes from here, right? The Loomis method, the RODGON method, the triangle method, the whatever methods, all that stuff is from this section of your foundations, right? This is your knowledge foundations. This is developed through studying and through reading and through observing other people doing things. So you need to take time to be able to do all that, even if it's on your phone, you know? Just taking time, just like watching tutorials once in a while so that you can build that mental capacity for it, right? You need the knowledge because without the knowledge, like the other stuff becomes really hard. So the next step of your foundations is your dexterity. Your dexterity comes in the form of understanding how to use the materials you want to draw with. Let's say you want to draw with a pencil, you want to draw with a pen. Let's say you want to draw with a brush. All those require different levels of dexterity. You require the ability to understand different elements for each one of them, the limitations from each one of them, and how and where you can go with each one, what gives you what result, right? Maybe with a pencil, you can have like really cool shading because it's smooth and you can just gradually build it up, right? With a pen, you might be able to get really cool cross hatching. But when it comes with a brush, you might be able to get these beautiful thick to thin lines that are curvy and stuff like that. And every tool you have and you learn, a chisel tip Sharpie or whatever will give you a nice sharp edge like a ribbon. Right? So you can do like graffiti stuff and stuff like that with them. So a lot of them have a bunch of different uses. A big brush will have a very different use than a skinny brush. And even down to like painting and stuff like that. So this is your dexterity part of things. You need to spend your time drawing, painting, creating, and getting used to the materials in front of you. This one is the one that takes the longest. This one is infinitely going to be the one that takes the longest because this cannot be built without time. You can't get the dexterity of a tool by just picking it up and instinctively knowing it. It's gonna take time to get good with any sort of tool. In this case, I'm drawing with ballpoint pen, and you guys will see I'm not really erasing, right? I'm not really erasing. I can recreate other textures with it and stuff like that because I have a lot of dexterity with it. I play with it a lot. I draw with it a lot, and I try to like do my things with it, even if it's harder, just so that I can actually recreate and be able to do things with it that other people can't. I want to master it. It's like a sword skill, right? Imagine that this is like, I don't know, martial arts. And every single one of these is a different like karate style or like martial arts style. And if you collect them all, you become a master at everything, right? Every single one of them is going to have its difficulty and every single one of them is going to have its complexity. So understanding that you can go and learn different things and each one is just going to make you stronger, that's going to be cool. Hey, how's it going, guys? So did you like the piece I did for you? Yeah, I think you sent it to me, right? All right. Anyways, so the next step of this is your knowledge, your dexterity, and then there's one more. One more that is very important that people don't know how to feed anymore. And that's your imagination. Right? These are the three elements that make up your foundations. You have your knowledge base, you have your dexterity, and you have your imagination. Your imagination comes from actually living your life. Right? Going out into the wild and just experiencing life for what life is. Just being able to just go out and just enjoying like a picnic by yourself out in the park is a good experience that you could just, draw a little bit of imagination from. At one point, you'll want to draw the scene or somebody in a situation like that, and now you have access to knowing what it felt like. So you can put a lot more feelings and a lot more like situational stuff into that piece of art. Because now you know what it feels like to be calmly in a piece of grass in the middle of nowhere. Right? So imagination it's about living your life in a way that you enjoy. We're artists because we are doing this to enjoy our lives. So go have the best cup of coffee in like that little tiny new like coffee shop that you found. You know, go I don't know, go talk to that girl you like. Go talk to that boy you like. Go like enjoy getting your heart broken or whatever, you know, like go live life so that you can actually recreate it in your art. It's very hard. If I told you to draw, let's say, I don't know, an animal, right? And let's say like I told you to draw like, I don't know, like an echidna or something that you've never really like actually drawn in your life, right? What would you have to be able to base it on? Everything else that you have drawn, let's say you've drawn like eagles and you've drawn, I don't know, like kiwis, and you've drawn everything else, but not an echidna, or you've drawn pandas, you've drawn every other animal, but you've never drawn that. Well, as long as someone tells you kind of what it is, you can just start putting things together. Let's say you've drawn an anteater before, which I have. I've drawn most animals before. I worked at the zoo for a very long time. So let's say that an echidna, what is an echidna? Echidna is like a little kiwi and anteater. So if you draw a little anteater kiwi, you have an echidna. And like a hedgehog and stuff like that, they kind of look the same to a certain extent. You see what I mean? You have to experience something, know something, so that you may be able to mix it all together and come up with things from your imagination. This is how you use your imagination. It's like a storage, right? It's like your mental library. Your imagination is your mental library. Like, have you drawn a tree before? Cool. How many different trees have you drawn to give yourself an understanding of how different trees work? Right? How many different trees have you spent your time researching? Have you drawn fern trees? Have you drawn pines? Have you drawn like anything, like sequoia ones, like the huge ones that have like the gigantic tree trunks, right? You know, they go like, and then people are like, stop. You're like, what? Whoa. And they go into the canopies, and then it starts turning into like the bottom of them. So it's like they go so high up, they're kind of like buildings, right? It's really awesome to see all these things. So being able to actually experience just anything like that will teach you the grandeur of how cool it is to actually understand things like perspective too. Like if you didn't know perspective or anything like drawing a cylinder in space, like with circles, right? If you didn't understand these very basic foundations and like very basic cartooning principles, you would never be able to easily draw something from above. This becomes really easy if you just understand how to connect two circles together. And this is just a combination of your knowledge base, your dexterity, being able to do it with a pencil or whatever tool, and your imagination, turning a basic shape into something like a sequoia tree. Let's make it one of those really big ones. Like the ones with the hole. Whoa. So that is what I wanted to explain to you guys. So these three parts are the most important aspects of your foundation. This is your foundations. So stop thinking that it's just this little fraction of it, which is just your perspective and anatomy. This is not just your only foundations, it's part of your foundations. It's a small part of your foundations of knowledge, but it's very small compared to everything else you need to do to be able to build up to that, to be able to draw from your imagination, to be able to copy other people's styles easily. You know, all that stuff gets developed through building these three structures up. This one's the most important one because this one is the hardest one to develop. Without this one, neither one of these work. If you don't learn how to use your tools and you spend time doing it, that's why you have to spend at least 15 minutes every day. At least like practicing and actually training our brains, drawing circles, drawing cubes, drawing things like that, connecting their edges, seeing if you can make them go in space, you know, like little tiny things like that are the ones that develop your mentality to be able to do those things that are more difficult. Going from circles to cylinders, like things like that, complicating your shapes, moving them in space, going back, going forth. Like this is fun for me. Just knowing that I can make a shape bigger and overlap it and make it come directly towards me is really cool. Like I personally enjoy knowing that I can manipulate my shapes like that, right? By overlapping other shapes, I can create volume. You can't create volume unless you overlap something. And that's the next level of, that's the next step that you have to learn, right? Once you start working on these things, the next most important rule is one of the rules that I like to keep in mind, and that overlaps are key. Overlaps are king. Like screw everything else. Like I could teach you how to draw everything from just learning how to overlap two circles together. Creating a little beanbag. This is a magical little shape. That little shape right there, little beanbag, anything that gives you a little tiny bit of overlap is the perfect shape to give you depth. There can be no depth if two things aren't overlapping. This has no depth at all, right? Like it's just two circles. If I move one circle over the other a little bit, now it looks like it's depth. Ooh, now there's magically one in front of the other. And the more closely I move that down over the other, the more depth that happens. So you can't have depth without overlapping a shape or a line. It's just not gonna happen. You know how you draw clouds and you're drawing like these, like poofy things? Wee, you're like, wee, poofies. And then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna overlap a little line right there. Oh man, it doesn't look, okay, I'm gonna do it like that. You're already creating that. You're just not doing it on a body. When you're doing it on the body, it would be more akin of when like an arm or something like happens, you'd have an overlapping line that creates volume. It pushes an element back. Things like an overlapping line in the palm of your hand can give you a finger, a thumb. Overlapping lines can generate a chest by just creating a little bit of a shape right there. And another overlapping line can give you your legs. So learning how to overlap lines is going to be a very, very important aspect of you learning how to draw, let's say, your legs in space, right? If you overlap this line, you have a 3/4. If you overlap this side, now it's looking the other side. If you, let's say, have your legs again, and then you overlap just the line in the back, now you have a back view. So understanding just how to overlap a simple shape on a circle can already give you a ton of depth when you start doubling this up to make it look like your comic characters that you guys want to draw and all that stuff. That is how you just build up to that. This may be a little basic, dumb question, but do you think you could maybe explain how to replicate cartoon art styles like Steven Universe? Steven Universe, let's see, hold on. Let me look up Steven Universe thing. Steven Universe. Let's see how simple. It's probably not going to be too hard. Steven. Okay, yeah. Steven Universe is really simple. So characters like Steven Universe are consisting of a circle, and then they have like this little cheek part, right? So it's already a beanbag as is. So if you draw a little beanbag, you're gonna have the little faces for them. Now they could be a little squishier, so you can draw like chubbier characters. I'm just noticing that all of them have like a slight indication to having like a little big cheek, right? So now that we have that, then the next step is understanding that their mouth is again another jelly bean. So you draw another same like jelly bean right there, and then you just draw their mouths. It seems like all of them have like very just similar shapes for like their mouths. So it's kind of like a jelly bean. And if you take away that jelly bean part and it's just this line, right? Take this as the upper lip. So if you overlap that line into anything, you're gonna have every mouth style that you can possibly think of. Okay? So you overlap this line over the bottom line, and now you can draw every style that they draw. Cool? Now the next thing is the eyes. The eyes are going to be angled. So it's two ovals that are angled like that, and then they have a single dot for their eye. So is that most of them? I mean, they all have different character traits, but Steven in general is going to be like that. The eyebrows seem to be just little jelly beans again. Jelly bean, jelly bean. And then the ear sits right here. And then you draw your hair however you want to draw it. Steven has hair like that. So it's just a matter of just applying those same principles. Jelly bean, jelly bean, jelly beans. And they have a uniform line weight to everything. They don't have like the thickness that normally the cartoons get right there. Everything is uniform. So just keep in mind that. But that's normally more for like story, like for ease of animation. They do that stuff for like animation stuff to make it easier. And then the nose is just a little diamond. Oh man. Too much zoomed in. Can't see a thing. I've seen seis manos. I don't know if I'm too zoomed in. I think I'm pretty okay. Have you seen seis manos? Color, style in a nutshell. You're just playing with shapes at this point. What do you mean? I mean, it's just a matter of just understanding those points, you know? Understanding that the basic shapes that you are like learning to draw are the basis of everything you want to learn to draw. This is all just simple equations and dexterity enough to be able to apply them. And if you learn to do it like that, if you learn to see it like that, it becomes much, much simpler instead of like thinking that there's like a magical formula to each one of these styles. There's a reason that so many people can like animate them because they're made simple for a reason. I'm gonna draw myself a Steven Universe character. Right, it's just a matter of, oh, they don't even have a line inside their ears. Wow, they have like super simple stuff. You're just playing with shapes at this point. Man, my back muscles are still so like incredibly like tight. I'm getting better though from the accident. Anyways, that is your Power Foundations lesson in a nutshell. I would wanted to just share that with you guys, give you guys a couple of examples of, you know, like little simple things that you guys could do with very basic shapes. Like, let's say that you guys just learned how to connect two circles and boxes together. That could be the basis of really simple characters like, I don't know, teddy bears or little animals and stuff like that. You don't really require a lot of knowledge about anatomy or, you know, like much knowledge about much. As long as you go out and live your life, read some comics, read some books, tell some stories, go hang out with friends, write down anything fun that happens to you, and sooner or later you're going to be able to draw absolutely anything that is in front of you. If you allow yourselves to live your lives a little bit, you're going to be surprised at how much dividends that pays back in your art. Be it good experiences, bad experiences, you can always use every ounce of everything that comes your way as like motivation, art, like fuel in general. So thank you so much for being my students. You guys are awesome. I will see you guys later for another video. And until then, I want to say thank you for letting me be your guys' teacher and for learning from it. If you guys feel like you guys learned anything, please just make sure to like this video, go like other stuff, go watch more stuff so you guys can learn some more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Later.